Good evening to all participants. It is now 5 o'clock. So I'd like to start so that the members of the IT team can do the training. My name is Past President Kwesi Amoako Kwakwa. I'm the chairman of the Election Reforms Committee. And during the previous elections, which were held in 2021, there were a few complaints that the election could be, which is the right word to use? That things could go wrong with the election because of the software that was used. So the council set up a committee, which I was the chairman, to try to get a software that would help, if we either build our own software or get one from a shop, that could handle the elections without the chance of any, for lack of a better word, rigging or anything like that going on. Because people realize that the same thing had happened in the Nigerian Society of Engineers election. In the election, there were rumors that the election had been rigged. Please, Auntie Christy, man, please, can you put your mic off so that we can concentrate on something else. And so so we did, and then with the help of the IT team and the Ghana Institution of Engineers, we were able to select a software called Election Buddy. And you are going to be trained on that software, and then take you through all how voting will occur. So there is no need for me to repeat what is going to be said in the training. But what we have Election Buddy, which appears to not to allow anybody to vote twice, because of you get an ID, and then once you vote, that's it. You get a link from the Institution of Engineers, and once you vote, that's it. This time we are doing e-voting. Everybody is doing e-voting. And this is different from previously when we did both. You either voted physically or did the e-voting. But this time, we are all going to do the e-voting. So please, listen to the instructions carefully. We know that you are most of the participants here are standing in the elections. So we want to assure you that there will be nothing can happen, If anybody votes, and the system is such that if you vote, you cannot vote again. It bars you from voting again. So there's no chance that somebody is going to get a lot of votes from the same people. And to make matters better, all participants in the election will have the right to bring in somebody, to check voting on their behalf. I don't know whether we should call him a polling agent or something like that, but I think when we say polling agent, you can understand that better. So now I'll call on Fifi. Fifi, are you the one who is going to do it?
Yes, please.
Yes, so I'll call on Fifi to start the training seminar. Okay. So over to you, Fifi.
All right, thank you, Chairman. Before I start, I think there's a hand up from one Asari Philip.
Asari Philip. Okay, Asari, please, can you go ahead with your question? Hello.
Mr. Wakwa, please let's continue. I think it's not here.
Okay, okay. So Fifi, please let's continue.
All right, thank you very much and good evening, everyone. So I'll be doing this presentation on behalf of the election committee. We will be covering the electronic voting system that has been selected for the 2023 to 2025 council elections. And then we will also demonstrate the voting process. So taking the team through how to do the voting. And during the presentation, I will suggest that if you have a question, you note it down. Once I'm done with the presentation, I will give the opportunity for you to ask your questions before the demonstration. So as Engineer Chairman mentioned, the platform we are using for this election is Election Buddy. So this is one of the e-voting platforms for enterprise voting, and it's been selected by the institution because of the security features that have been built in, which would enhance the integrity of this election. Obviously, we do not want anything to go wrong, and so we need to have a robust platform that would make sure that we have a seamless election. The platform has a number of features, and we're going to go through just a few. The very first one is that with this platform, during the voting process, there is no way anybody would know the results before voting ends. So even the administrator cannot tell who is leading until voting ends. And that is to ensure that no one gets an unfair advantage. The second one is that every single vote is anonymous. So nobody would know which candidate you voted for. But the platform also allows for members to see progress. So for example, know whether we've done 10%, 20% voters have casted their ballot, but we will not know the result. And for this election, the institution will be publishing the progress on the website. When you visit the website, you'll be able to tell whether we have 15% of voters casting their ballot or maybe 50%. And you'll be there until the election ends. Now, as Engineer Chairman mentioned, every voter is going to get a unique link. And that link is the only link you can use to vote. And that link also allows you to vote only once. So obviously, if you share that link and then somebody uses it to vote, it means that you'll be denied your vote. And this platform also allows for notifications. So for this election, members will be notified via email and then SMS. So we'll all receive emails with the voting details and then also an SMS. And the last part, which is the most important part, is that at the end of the voting process, there is a report that clearly indicates who has won the various positions. So these are the key features that would enable us to have a seamless election. Now, in terms of the notification, every eligible voter is going to get an email. And what you see on the screen is how the email looks like. So on the right, you have the sender as Ghana Institution of Engineering, and it says vote now, Ghana Institution of Engineering dash, then you have the 2023 to 2025 council elections. And the content of the email, you have the details pointing you to when the election would start and when it's ending. And then you have a link. So in this case, it says to vote, visit secure.electionbuddy.com. And then there's a code. That code is a unique code that every voter gets. Now, this email ideally should land in your inbox. Admin, if you can check, I think somebody is drawing on the screen. So this email is supposed to land in your inbox, but sometimes it might end up in your junk or spam or some other folders if you have grouped your folders. So it's important that if you check your inbox and you don't find it, you check your junk or spam. Now, you would also receive an SMS, and the SMS would just come as Ghana Institution of Engineering, new ballot notification, and it says vote here, and you have the link. So here, once you click on the link in the SMS, it would also open the ballot for you to cast your vote. Now take note that the message would come from the name GHIE. So that would be the name that would be used to send the SMS. Now, to cast your vote, as I've already mentioned, all you need to do is to click on the link. Some people have issues with their mail clients, so sometimes the links are not clickable. If you find yourself in that situation, you can just copy the link into your browser, and then you should be able to access the ballot. Now, the link for both the SMS and then the email would allow you to just vote once. So you can use either of them, the SMS or the email. But once you cast your ballot, that would be it. You will not be able to vote again. So for this year, there are 6 positions. So you'd find president-elect, the vice president, the executive representatives for the various occupational groups. And then you would also find the national councillors, the chairs of the various technical divisions, and then the chairs of the branches. So what you see on your screen now is how a typical position looks on the ballot. But when we do the demo, you would see all the various positions and how they are presented. So this particular one is showing the president-elect. And then for the president-elect, we are allowed to choose only one. So it means that you would have to first read the information about the candidate, and then you can proceed to choose your preferred candidate. The vice president is also a single position, so you would have to read and then choose one. Some of the positions, we only have one candidate. So here you would have to either endorse or reject the candidate. A typical example is the executive representative for the various occupational groups. So here you have either, yes, I approve the candidate, or no, I reject the candidate. Another one is the executive representatives for the craftsmen. Here too, it's either you are approving or you are rejecting. Now for the national councillors, for each occupational group, we are supposed to select 3. So what it means is that among the list, you would have to choose your preferred 3. If you choose one, it will not allow you to vote. You would have to choose at least, you have to choose 3, exactly 3. So any 3 from the list. When we go through the full ballot, we'll be able to go through all the various positions and then the options available. Now, there are a few notes that I would want to mention. The first one is that the institution circulated the notice of voting on 14th of February. Yeah. And then the voting period is going to be March 15th at 7 a.m. to March 30th, 7 a.m. So what it means is that when you receive your notifications, it will take effect from March 15th, 7 a.m. And within that window, you'll be able to cast your ballot. But on March 30th at 7 a.m., the voting would officially end. So if by then you have not cast your ballot, you will not be able to do so. Now, individuals who are eligible to vote or members who can vote are full members in good standing up to 2022 as at the 14th of February. And this list indeed has been published by the institution. So when you go to the institution's website, you will be able to find the list, but I'll show you that during the demonstration. So if you find your name there, it means that you will receive notification to cast your vote. Unfortunately, if your name is not there, it means that you will not be able to vote in this election. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you can only vote once, either using the SMS or the email. So you should make sure you don't share your links. If a friend cannot find his email, you would have to get him to contact the institution, but don't forward your email or your message to him or her. And then, of course, the choices you make are secret, and nobody would be able to see the person or candidate you voted for. Now, to ensure fairness, the institution is also randomizing the various positions. So let me quickly go back and demonstrate that. So currently on your screen, okay, maybe I think we should let's use the president-elect. Currently on the screen, you see the first candidate to be Engineer Ludwig. The second candidate is Engineer Dide, and then the third candidate is Engineer Hazel. On your ballot, the position might be different. You might have, for instance, Engineer Hazel being the first, Engineer Hesse being the second, Engineer Dide being the third. So it is random. And so we should take note of that. Now, the various positions that you would see on your ballot depend on one, the occupational group you belong to, the branch you belong to, and the technical division. So for instance, if you belong to the civil technical division, you will not be able to vote for the technical division chair for another division. So the groupings are done such that you would only see the positions that apply to you. The same for the occupational groups and then the branches. Now, because of that, we need to make sure that the information on the branches of the various voters are up to date. And so the institution circulated an email. I think the first one was sent on February 3rd to notify members to update their information on the website. There was a reminder sent to the third as well. There's a form on the website that is to help members update their information. And when you go to the website and the membership, you would find update information. And that opens a form for you where you'll be able to indicate your details and then specify your branch, your division, and then your area of specialization. So it's this information that the institution is using to be able to group the various positions for the branches. So if you have not already done that, you are encouraged to do that so that you'll be able to update your information and get the right branches to show on your ballot. So at this point, I would want to pause for questions if there are any before I move on to the demonstration. Okay, so let's take Engineer Asamoah.
Thank you for the opportunity. I want to find out, are you going to target for the emails and the SMS, are you going to target those who are in good standing, or is going to be to everybody?
All right, thank you. So the emails and SMSs would go to only the eligible voters that have been published on the GHI website. So there was a cutoff date. So if you were not in good standing at that time and you regularize now, you will still not be on the list. But during the demo, I'll go to the page and show you how to find out whether you are on the voter list or not.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, let's take Engineer Tijani.
Yeah, so the question I want to ask is, what security measures have you put in place to ensure that updating of member records on the website is actually the members that are updating the record? Because if I know somebody's GHIN number, I can just go there, update, change the email address, and then that's it. So how do we ensure that, you know, people don't go there changing email addresses to direct that notification to a different email for them to vote for other people?
All right, thank you very much. So as far as I know, the various entries that are made are validated by the institution. But I think if you have the IT team on the call, they can clarify exactly how they do the verification. Matthias, can you clarify that one? Okay. I think Bartels might not be on the call now, but I'll get him to clarify in the course of the presentation.
Progress.
I know that for each entry that is done, they do verification before, but as to what exactly they check, I'll need guidance from the IT team. So I'll come back to you on that question. Okay, can we take Engineer Kwabena?
Okay, sir. When we look at elections around our country,
Engineer, if you can reposition yourself, we can't hear you. Okay, I think Engineer Kwabena is having a challenge with his network. So can we take Engineer Nelson?
My question is, if a voter decides to vote for only one candidate, how does he add up to the percentage voters, assuming all others voted for all the categories?
All right, thank you, Engineer Nelson. The current setup of the ballot doesn't allow a voter to vote for just one candidate. So you would have to vote for all the various positions before you can submit. So there is no provision for abstaining.
Very well, thank you so much.
You're welcome, sir. Okay, Engineer Mate. Engineer Mate, you have the floor. Okay. So I have two microphones on. I don't know whether they have a question. Okay, Engineer Sari. Okay, Engineer Mate, please go ahead.
Is he on?
His microphone is unmuted, but I'm not sure if he's speaking.
When I speak, it goes off. Am I on? Okay, he's on. Yes, good evening. I was just going to add up to your submission, your response to Engineer Tijani's question. Just like you retreated, at this point where members know that if you don't have the review or the updated information, you cannot vote. We are already out of the cutoff date. Unless somebody may have done it before the cutoff date, then we have an issue. So we may have to look at it that way. But otherwise, updating your information is something that the IT team will want to look at it. But everyone who updated really was the person. The email matches with the records in the institution before. So if somebody has diverted an email for an updating information, we should be able to fish it out from those that are eligible to vote. That's what I wanted to add to what you said. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Engineer Sari. Okay, so I think I would proceed to do the demonstration, and then we can come back to the questions. Okay, so when you click on the link in the SMS or the email, it would open the ballot, which is the page you see on your screens now. So it has the GHI logo, and then the header says Ghana Institution of Engineering 2023 to 2025 Council elections. There is information on the various positions that you should expect. And then he also has a note that basically reiterates the point that I've mentioned earlier. So the period for the voting, which is from March 15th to March 30th, and also shows that only full members in good standing are eligible to vote. And then at the bottom, we reassure you that your choices are anonymous, so nobody would be able to determine who you voted for. So first on the ballot, you would find the first position on the ballot, you would find the president-elect. And here it says select one choice, and the choices are listed in random order. So you would have to click on the information, and that pops up information about the candidates for you to read. And you can do same for all the candidates. Once you're happy with it, you will have to select from the choices, the tick boxes on the right. And for the purpose of this demonstration, I would always select the very first candidate. And then for the vice president, you also have the same information. So you would have to read the information. And once you're satisfied, you can select. So I'll choose the very first one. And that is because if I don't, we will not be able to move to the next stage. Okay, so I don't have any preferred candidate, but I would choose only the first candidate for all cases. The executive representatives for the various occupational groups, we only have one candidate. So this is where you would have to either endorse or reject the candidate. So if you'd want to approve the candidate, you select yes. If you want to reject, you select no. But as I mentioned, I'll select the first choice for all cases. And then we have the executive representative for technicians. So here too, you select a preferred choice. Now for some of them, you don't have the option for clicking the information, like the way we have it for the president and the vice president. The information about the candidate is listed right on the page. So you'll be able to read without having to click to open. So I'm going to go through and select for the options. Now for the national councillors, as I mentioned earlier, we have to select 3 for each occupational group. So the list for professional engineers, for example, is about 10 candidates. So you would have to choose your preferred 3. So for example, if you want the first one, and then maybe the last one and the middle one, you can do that. but I'm going to select the first 3, as I said earlier. And the same for the national councillor, for the craftsmen. Now, for the craftsmen, the nominees were only 3, and we are supposed to select a maximum of 3. So the candidates are configured just like the executive representatives. You would have to decide whether you approve or you reject. And that is because the team could not set it up like this. Because if it is done so, it means that they are automatically elected, because you have to select 3 anyway. So for that one, you would have to decide individually for them whether you approve or reject. Okay. So I'll do that for the 3 of them. And then you have same for the technical divisions. So technical divisions, there are only single candidate division. So
okay, then we were talking about the
admin, if you can
passwords. We are talking about.
Okay, thank you. So you would have to read and then you select your choice. Now for the chairpersons, you also have something similar for the various branches. So for branch 1, you would have to read about the candidate. If you approve of him, you select or reject. And I must say that for the branches, you will not be able to see all the branches. Because this is a demo, we are showing you the branches, we are showing you all the branches. But if, let's say, you belong to Ashanti branch 1, you will not see branch 2 and the others. You will only see branch 1 on your ballot. Same for the technical divisions and then the other occupational groups. So I'll go ahead and select for all the branches so we can move to the next stage. So once you've made your choice, you will have to click on the continue button at the bottom. And that takes you to the next page for you to review your selection. So here you have a summary for president-elect, the individual that you have selected. The national councillor, these are the 3 that I've selected. So you take your time and go through it. Once you are happy with it, you can click on the submit. If you are not, you still have the opportunity to go back by clicking on the edit button and making changes. So before I submit, I would want to open the floor if members have questions on the process, the voting process, so we can address them. So if you have a question, please raise your hand and we'll give you the opportunity. Okay, Engineer Sian.
Yeah, thank you very much for elaborate presentation. So what if I don't select a candidate? Will it allow me to submit? If there's a particular one, I don't select a candidate at all. Will the system allow me to submit?
All right, thank you, Engineer. So currently, the system is configured such that you have to necessarily select. You cannot abstain. So if there's a candidate you don't want, then it means that you have to reject him. But otherwise, you have to approve him. If it's one of the choices where you need to select at least 3, you would have to read their profiles and choose your preferred 3, but you can't abstain.
Okay, very well. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, Engineer Do.
Yes, thank you very much, Engineer Fifi. I want to find out whether we can pause during the voting process and get back to our or attend to some 1 or 2 activities and come back to continue the voting, or it is once you start it, you must finish it.
All right, thank you, Engineer Do. So the current configuration, once you start, you would have to finish it. However, if you start and you need to pause and go and do some other activity, you are free to do so. The page will not expire. You can always come back and continue. But if you close the page, it means that when you open it, you would have to continue from where you left off. Technically, it will not delete your selection that you've chosen. So we can say that, yes, you can pause and come back, but it must be on the same device. If you change the device, it means you start from scratch. So the system doesn't really have an option for pausing, but you can stop, go and do your work and come back and continue. Or you can even close the page. As long as you open it on the same device, it would maintain your selections and then you can complete your ballots. Engineer, does that answer the question? Okay. Okay, Engineer Hazel.
Right. Thank you very much, Fifi. I just wanted to find out, since the cutoff for those who are applicable, who can do the voting is 14th of February. It simply means that as we speak right now, we know the number of people who are eligible to vote. If so, how many are they?
All right, thank you, Engineer. So in the database, there are currently 3,548 members. So when you visit the GHIE website, you would find a total of 3,548 eligible voters. Engineer, does that answer your question?
Thank you very much. Yeah.
You're welcome, sir. Okay, Engineer Philip. Okay, then can we take Engineer Kwabinachere?
Okay, good evening, everybody. Sorry about the first time. I think the light flickered and then it was actually changed over, so I went off again. 2 questions quickly. Does voting system check multiple voting? That is number 1. Number 2, maybe a bit humorous. Our elections in this country usually makes delegates, very wanted, and they become very hot-cake when elections are arriving. Is there any chance that if your name happens to be on the eligible voters as a delegate, you are also going to be rich like we see around? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Engineer. So let me start with the second one. If your name is on the list of eligible voters, I'm not too sure you'll be rich, because the list doesn't give details of the person's contact number, so you'll not be able to contact the person. And I also believe that the members will obviously vote based on the profiles of the candidates. So I don't believe that. Now, to the first question, you will not be able to vote twice. The system is configured for single voting only. So as I mentioned, even though you might receive an SMS and then receive an email, whichever link you use to vote, that's it. You'll not be able to vote twice. Once you submit, you will not be able to vote again. Does that answer the question, Engineer?
Yes, thank you so much. Number 2 was actually on the lighter side, but thanks.
All right, thank you. Okay, Engineer Nelson.
My question is just answered, but I'll go ahead and ask. If I choose to open my SMS and the email at the same time, is the system smart enough to know?
Okay, thank you. If you open both at the same time, they would open, but you can only submit one. Whichever one you submit first, the second one will be rejected.
Thanks.
Okay, Engineer Jabano.
Okay, good evening. Please, in your submission, you mentioned that only members of good standing and full members of good standing are eligible to vote. I would like you to explain to me a full member of good standing since I joined the association just this year.
All right. Thank you. So the cutoff date was as at this year, February 14th. So meaning that any member who had paid his dues and is a registered member of the institution as of February 14th, your name would appear on the voters register. If you were not in good standing as of 14th of February, and then let's say in March, you decided to pay your dues, you will still not be on the list. So member in good standing means that you've paid up as at 14th of February. Now, indeed, on the GHIA website, you would find that there's a section that gives you the list of members in good standing as at now. And then you also have the list of eligible voters. You may find a name in the list of members in good standing that may not necessarily be in the list of voters because of the cutoff date. So the reference is the cutoff date. Does that answer the question, engineer?
Yes, please. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Engineer Dauda.
Thank you for the opportunity. May I know if the TPs are part of the eligible voters?
All right, thank you. I think I'll need guidance on this one, but I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure the TPs are part, but I'll need guidance. Battels or Engineer,
Hello.
if you can help me on this one.
Hello, Engineer Fifi.
Hello, Battels.
Richard here. Okay, so TPs are not part of eligible voters according to the Constitution.
All right, thank you, Battels. So, Engineer, to answer your question, TPs are not part of the eligible voters. Okay, can we take Engineer Mate? Okay, then Engineer Kumasa.
Yeah, thank you. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I have a question, but the answer you give to the question on TPs being eligible has also given me another question that I want to ask. First of all, you know, we have craftsmen. Okay, let me put it this way. If you say TPs don't vote or are not eligible voters, the Secretariat publish a list of those who are eligible to vote. I think that was when we met last month or so, and we have TPs among those lists. So the argument that they don't vote, I don't get it. And I understand craftsmen also vote. So if TPs don't vote, it means craftsmen will not vote. So how do you try?
Yeah, I think, okay, someone is speaking, so let's hear him first. Yes, let's hear who was.
Yes, Engineer Sari.
Okay, Engineer Odei would want to clarify.
Yeah. You know, TPs have not been inducted in, so they are not full members. Craftsmen, for that matter, have been inducted into the institution, and therefore they are full members, so they are eligible to vote. Okay? Yeah.
All right, thank you, Engineer Odei, for the clarification.
Okay, thanks for the clarity. So my substantive question is, you know, this gathering, the craftsmen are also part, but we've done the explanation in English throughout. Sometimes they are limited when it comes to this brofo. So sit with the local dialect so that they can also grasp what they need to know. So for your consideration.
Present.
All right, thank you, Engineer Kumasa.
Well noted. Joseph's hand up.
Okay, yes, Engineer Jonas, please go ahead.
It's Joseph or Jonas.
Joseph.
Yes.
Hello, presenter. Hello.
Please go ahead, sir. Okay, Engineer Joseph, you have the floor. Okay, I think we cannot hear Engineer Joseph.
Okay, I think we have something in the chat from Engineer Marty.
Okay, let me.
On the chat room.
Engineer Marty says, I have had issue with my email from GHIE. So I don't get emails from GHIE. I am sure that they type wrongly. How can I get the mails for the election? Okay, so I think the issue is that your email address with the institution might be wrong. The platform makes provision for you to update your details. So I will do that demo also shortly. But then, Engineer, okay, Bartels, if you can clarify, there was an earlier question from Engineer Tijani, the kind of verification we do when members enter their details on the website. What kind of verification do we do to ensure that people will not be able to go there and then try and divert the emails of members? For instance, if somebody knows my GHIE number and my contact number, he might go there and enter that information, but put in his email address. Can you clarify? Okay, I think whilst Bartels gets ready to answer that, let me quickly go to the GHI website and show you how to find the list of voters and also how to update your information. So when you visit the GHI website, and then you hover on the About link, you have the elections link, and then when you click on it, it will give you this page. So on this page, you have the list of eligible voters, and there's a nice search box here. So you can type your name. So for example, if I want to check my name, I can just put my name. And once your name shows up, it means that you are on the voter list. If you type your name and it's not in here, it means that you are not part of the list of voters. And the total so far, as I mentioned earlier, is 3,508. You also have the list of nominees in case you would want to verify, because these are the nominees that are on the ballot. That information is also available on the website. And then the statement of purpose of the various nominees are also published. So this is how you can verify. Now, if you need to update your information, that one, you will have to come to membership and then click on update information. So that opens this page for you, where you would have to enter your member ID, your name, your email, your phone number, and then you select the branch that you belong to, and then your division. And then the institution is also interested in your area of specialization. So you would have to enter that as well, and then you submit. So this information goes to the secretariat, and the secretariat will do their own validation and then update your information in the database. Okay. So if there are any more questions, you can still raise your hand. We will give you the opportunity whilst we wait for Bartels to answer our question on the verification. Engineer Tijani.
Yes. I am reading from section 10.5.4 of the bylaws. And it states that full members shall have the option of casting their ballots securely online or manually at the voting stations established by the council at the head office and the branch offices of the institution, and on the day of AGM at the venue of the AGM, and in all cases to be delivered to the executive director of the institution no later than 10 a.m. on the day of the AGM. So my question is, are we going to have that option of manually casting our vote, or is purely online for this year?
All right, thank you, engineer. So this year, the option members to vote at the institution is still available, but it's still electronic. So in other words, the institution is not going to print any paper ballots. There will be a laptop at the institution that would enable members to vote. But to vote, you would have to put in your code. So permit me to quickly share my presentation and then show you what I mean. Okay, so the SMS and emails that are sent. Engineer, sorry, can you confirm if you can see my slide?
Yes, please, I can see.
Right, thank you. So the
Yes,
SMS that is sent you has this code. So in this particular case, you see H3T6-B8 all the way to FZ. That is the unique code that is sent you. So the institution will have the laptops there, which has a screen. All you do is key in this number, and then you present it with the ballot, and then you'll be able to vote. So there wouldn't be paper ballots, but that is the provision. In case you don't have any means of voting, once you get there and you key in this number, you'll be presented with your ballot, and then you'll be able to cast your vote. Engineer Tijani, does that address your question?
Yes.
Please, I want to ask a question too. A follow-up.
Please go ahead.
This is Engineer Samuel Entry. I want to find out, can somebody vote without physically present at the conference ground?
All right, thank you. Yes, you can. Indeed, the emails and SMS that will be sent to you, you would open them on either your phone or your laptop. So you don't need to be physically present. Once you are able to open it within the window, which is from March 15th to March 30th, you can vote from the convenience of your locations. So yes, you don't need to be physically present.
Very well, thank you.
Okay, we have one. Okay, I think there's no more hand up. Okay, so I'm going to share the right. Okay, so during the voting period, if you have any challenge, you have to contact the institution, and then they will be able to guide you resolve your issue. The most likely problem that members might have is not being able to find the email link. For the SMS, it's very easy because it will be on your phone. But the email link, some of them might end up in your junk or your spam. So if you can't find it, you would have to get back to the institution. Now, individuals who also do not vote within the period or vote on time, the institution plans to send you reminders. So you receive reminders. It is not an additional ballot for you. It's the same ballot being sent. So if you've already voted, you will not receive a reminder. But if you haven't, there will be a reminder for you to cast your ballot. And we encourage members to try as much as possible to cast their ballots early so that if you have a challenge, it can be resolved. Okay, Engineer Kofi.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, please, I'm just drawing your attention to the chat room. It looks as if people are pushing issues there. So draw your attention there. Those who cannot get through to you, they are, I think, sending their views through the chat room. So if you can contact the chat room and see what is there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. So we
read the first one, so
yeah.
Yes, so let's go to number 2.
GHIE.
Yeah, that's the first one you read. So we can go to number 2.
So I have not read the first one. So the first one here is the current update.
I had an issue with my email. Oh.
No, not that one. So this is from, I think it's from Bartels. That's the GHI Secretariat. He says that the current update is not affecting the live database. There are staff assigned who are doing the verification before live update. So I think this is to Engineer Tijani's question. The institution says that they've dedicated staff who are doing the verification. It doesn't say how, but I guess they might call the phone numbers and ask a few questions to be sure that is the member. And then the second one, okay, the second one here says, thanks for a wonderful presentation. Can you please demonstrate how results will be seen as we vote? All right, thank you, Engineer Jonas. So as I indicated earlier, once the voting commences, nobody will be able to see the results. The system, in fact, locks the whole setup, and you will not be able to tell the results until voting ends. So it means that we will not be able to display the results of the election until it's ended. However, the status of the election will be on the platform, on the website. So we'll be able to know whether we've done 50%, 70% of members casting their vote. But on the final day, the end of the election, then we will be able to see the results. And then there's another question says, do we vote online, please? So the answer is yes. When you click on the link, it will open your browser and you would have to vote in your browser, which is online.
Hello, engineer. Hello.
Okay. Yes, please.
Please, the 3,005 members you showed, is it the members of good standing or those who, the entire membership? Because we have the members of good standing and then we have the entire membership. I don't know the difference. Is it the 3,005 are those who are eligible to vote or what?
Yes, please. So the 3,548 are the members who are eligible to vote for this particular election. Members in good standing, but members in good standing as of February 14 who are eligible to vote.
Okay, thank you.
Will you want to continue reading the chat, Vivi? There's one on if sections where there's only one nominee. I don't know whether you've seen that one. Hello, Engineer Fifi. Fifi, are you there? Okay.
It looks like we've lost him.
Richard, are you there? Okay, so let me just.
Okay, I'm here, sir.
Okay, so what
please,
is that Richard?
Yes, please.
Okay, you want to ask a question, right?
Yes, I want to ask a question.
Please go ahead. I'll take it down.
With the craftsmen, I'm asking a question with regards to the craftsmen. Most of the craftsmen with their IDs, I mean the GHIE numbers, they have it, but if they check it on the portal, it looks like there is a different numbers on their sections. instead of maybe if they are 10350, they can see another number being given to them. So that has been one concern from the craftsmen, which need to be at least checked and verified.
Okay.
And
the numbers they have differ on the website, right?
Sure. And
okay.
Number two, with the updates, we are finding it a little bit challenging because they have been trying on countless occasions. Majority of them have been trying, but it looks like it's not going through. Though they have clear indication that they do the login and everything goes on, but instead of it to be accepted, it doesn't go through. So they have been making a lot of concerns and issues from that angle. So if at least if you can call out to the list and let council know what is really happening.
Okay.
So,
well noted.
Okay.
Yeah, you have another one.
I have the last question, which is
also on the craftsman.
That's also on the craftsman.
Yes, go ahead.
I know with the craftsmen, majority of us are on good standing as members due to some restrictions. But instead of them checking their name on the final list of voters, majority of them are not seeing their name on the final list, which you know they are supposed to see their names on the final list.
The last one is not so clear to me.
The last one is a majority of the craftsmen.
Yes.
For the list that have been set up for the people that are eligible to vote.
Yes, from the page.
They can't find their names.
But yeah, they know they updated their records before the 14th.
And they are of good standing too.
They're not just of good standing, but by a particular date. So this one they can pass through the institution and then clarify.
Okay.
It's by for the eligible voters. It's not just good standing, but by a particular date, your records have been updated. You were of good standing too. So they can clear before the voting day, which is 15th, from the institution physically if they want to. Okay.
Sorry, can I come in here, please?
Yes, Joe, please come in.
Yes. With the craftsmen, their admission is more of a bit organized. Okay. So probably the issue that my brother raised, it has to do with administrative challenges at the institution. It's not the fault of the craftsmen. Okay. So probably he can check those who have such issues and then contact the institution, maybe Bates or Richard, and that one can sort it out. Yeah.
Okay. So engineer, I will do so.
Yeah. Yes, please help us on that so that where there's a need to make a special case before the voting.
Okay, I will do so, sir. Thank you.
So please help us on that.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, is that Fifi?
No, that was Engineer Sarebo.
Sir, please, Engineer Sarebo, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to know of the 3,560 eligible voters, how many of them are professional engineers?
Okay. So the number we got was 3548. Just for your correction.
Yeah, so the 3548. How many of them are professional? How many are professional engineers?
Okay. So we'll check on that and give you feedback. Fifi, are you back?
Sorry, just type professional engineers and you can get the number right away.
Okay, but then because there are a lot of hands up, we'll check it and let us, and we'll give you feedback.
When will you give me the feedback? Because this program is still running, so doomsday. I mean, so when am I going to get?
Okay. Engineer, before the meeting ends, I'm trying to get if Fifi is back and he's able to give. Fifi, are you there? Okay, yes.
Filter the list with professional engineers. You have a total of 2,053.
2,050.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. And sorry, members, my internet disconnected, but I'm back.
I think there are some 3 questions I noted down in your absence. Maybe you want to listen to them and then assist those that you have readily answers.
Okay, please go ahead.
It's all 3 were under the craftsman category. And the first one is that there are GHI numbers that they know of. When they check on the web where we have the eligible voters, some of the numbers differ from what they know is their number, the craftsmen. I think engineer there advised that they contact the institution on that. And then they also have issues of completing their updating of records. When they go through it, they normally do not get to the end for it to be accepted. That's also one. And then, yeah, I think they are all about issues where they need to contact the institution as much as possible before the election day commences so that they are not left out. Those were the questions that came in your absence.
Okay, yeah, I think I agree to the response. For these ones, they need to contact the institution.
Immediately, yes, yes. Okay, there's one more in the chat room. If you can see it, it says, in sessions where there is only one nominee, one would expect that the person gets an automatic approval. That notwithstanding, what percentage of acceptance or rejection are you looking at? And also, let me see, in the event where the nominee is rejected by the multitude, what happens to that sector? That's one of them in the chat room.
All right, thank you. So for the single nominees, per the guidance we have, members will still have to endorse or reject the candidate. And the reason why we have that option. Now, the threshold for acceptance or rejection, I will need guidance from that, on that from engineer chairman. I'm not too sure what the threshold is for that particular one. So I'll need guidance on that.
I think we are dealing with simple majority voting. So you can reject. Even if one person says, I like it, the person goes through. Yes.
No, let's confirm. Yes, chairman.
Yes, I think I will discuss this with ED and come up with a solution. But engineer, yours sounds very easy.
Yes.
Thank you. All we need is a simple majority. So if the simple majority is in his favor, then it means he stays on. That's what you are saying.
Yeah.
We will take it into consideration.
Because I think
that is the easy bit. That is the easy bit. This is KD Lai.
Okay.
The difficult bit is if the majority of people say they don't like the candidate, that's the difficult bit. So what happens then?
Yes, it is, but it's the same thing.
It's not here.
We are
has to be
voting
said
by
that
simple majority. So if the majority says no, it is no. Do you understand?
But there's only one person.
We put forward a new candidate.
Yes, we
In
can.
your case, let's go back to the constitution, which talks about simple majority as a clear person way. So if we have less than 100 people casting the vote for Craftsman, and we have 60 saying we don't like him, the 40 say that's simple majority.
Yeah.
It goes through.
Engineer Day.
Yeah, what you said, you are not referring to simple majority. Are you saying that if 60 say no, the person goes through? Is that what you just said?
So what I'm saying is
No, he's saying if there's 60 people say no and 40 people say yes, then the no's have won.
Yes. Okay, correct. Correct. I heard otherwise. Okay.
Okay, Fifi.
All right.
Yes.
Fifi, this is Engineer
Hello.
Nelson.
Yes, Engineer Nelson, please go ahead.
It's not as simple as we have said, but I think the understanding may have to come from the election committee. See, it's clear on the simple majority case, but if 100 people vote and 50 say I don't like and 50 say I like, the person has still not won. You understand? So it means that they may have to do a re-election of something. It's the same as 40 people say no and 40 people say yes and 60 people say no. The person has still not won. It's only in cases where there is a clear case of winning +1, and then the person has definitely won. So for me, I think this is the way we should go, but it has to be clarified by the.
I disagree. I disagree because it's the way that we have structured the system now, the elections. Okay, that is either yes or no. That is why we think we are trying to get into this trouble. But assuming there were two contesting, you definitely have to choose one. If it's the only person contesting, we can decide not to make it yes or no. We can decide to make it only yes, or you abstain. That's all. It's not about either yes or you abstain. But what the problem we are getting to is the way we have structured our election procedure now. Is either yes or no. For me, it can be yes or you abstain. That's all.
No, we've had no. Engineer, we have had understanding at this presentation that you have to choose a candidate at all category. Yes. So once you enter, you have to answer. You have to choose through and through. Yes. But when we get to a case where there's one candidate and the option is yes and no,
yes.
If we get the same number of voters say yes and no, the person hasn't won.
No, that's what I'm saying. That
so you can't disagree.
Mm-hmm.
You can't disagree.
No,
if we have
because we are saying it's yes or no. And I remember when we had the initial meeting, we're even thinking of to abstain. So either you are voting for the person or you are abstaining from the person. So don't even know the number of people. That shouldn't even come in that it's yes or no. If it is no, it means that you don't like the person. No. It's the way we have structured it that is creating the problem that is either no. So those who have said no, they are more, we should give it to them. Or those who say yes, we should give it to them. No. I think that it's either we said yes or you abstain. You don't vote for the person at all.
All right.
Okay. I think we will consider that, but we will have a meeting and decide. There's a peculiar case where 50% say no, 50% say yes. So there must be a vote from somewhere to. We'll have a meeting and decide on that. So, but thank you for bringing such a situation up before the elections.
All right, thank you. I think we still have 3 more hands up. Engineer Tijani.
Yes, thank you, Fifi. So my last question, assuming I need help with the voting and I cannot come to the institution or I cannot come to the AGM, can I give my credentials to somebody with an authorization for the person to vote for me? As in, is voting by proxy allowed?
Okay, thank you. I think the setup we have, if you share your message with somebody, it means that a person can vote on your behalf. The system wouldn't even know that it was voted for by a proxy. Yourself, can you?
No, admin. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So as long as your code shows in the system that you voted, it will be counted. So to answer the question, yes, you can share your link with somebody, but it means that you will not be able to use that same code to vote again.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Engineer Ralph.
Okay, good evening. I think my question is just on the updating of the records. Is it that I want to know if one hasn't updated the record, he will not be eligible to vote? That's what I wanted to know. Is it compulsory for someone to update it before he votes, or he can vote and later update his record?
All right, thank you, Ralph. So we would want all members who haven't updated their information to do so, and you are advised to do that before the election. And the reason is that on the ballot, we have certain positions that are based on your occupational group, your technical division, and your branches. For the technical division and occupational group, those ones, the institution has that information. But for branches, people have relocated. So if, let's say, you are in Accra, but now you've moved to Kumasi, and that is where your permanent station is, it means that your branch has changed, but the institution might not know. So on the ballot, you would be assigned Accra, but that might not be applicable to you. And for some, the institution might not even know where their branches are currently. So you're advised to update it before the election. And I think the institution is looking at latest close of day on Monday, because election is starting on Wednesday, 7 a.m. and the final touches to the ballot based on all the inputs we are receiving from this training will be done on a Tuesday. So as much as possible, you should update your information latest close of day on Monday so that we can finalize and then conclude on the ballots. Does that answer your question, engineer?
Yeah, thank you.
Engineer Bismarck Otu.
Thank you very much. Good evening to everybody. I wanted to just a follow up on what my brother asked. Are we saying that to we end the election, anybody who updates his or her records is eligible to vote? I just want a clarity to that. Or is it a matter of we've closed the voters register, but then we just want to have updates of certain specific data? So I want clarity to that. And then on the controversial yes or no issue, I think that if we don't want to bring a popular affirmation in it, then we end it. We end it as such, in the sense that if someone had just stood for a position where he is a loner in that position, and we are restricting another person, we are restricting a voter not to decide on whether he likes the person or not, then there shouldn't be any need for every yes or no. Because if it's going to be, I am only restricted to say yes, that is duress. So I think that if we are not going to do it yes or no, then we should probably, the elections committee should probably declare those people had won. Because I've had a clear situation where I have run elections in certain professional groups before, and there are two scenarios that happen. One group, the elections committee declared that since they went unopposed, they have won. And for that matter, they had already published their names that they had won, waiting for the other candidates who had competitors. But on the other scenario also, a professional group, the election committee stated that there is a need to be voted on whether members like them or not. And so we cannot have a situation that will say all of us should say no, or abstain, or us should say yes or abstain. It shouldn't come to a point. There wouldn't be an election at the end of the day. But once it's an election, it means that we want opinions from people, and we need to give alternatives opinions. And we cannot say, okay, we are restricting everybody to say yes or to say no. If you are not saying no, abstain. If you are saying yes, or that is not democratic enough for me. I believe strongly that these are issues that we have raised up, and the elections committee probably will look at the nuances and the loopholes in them, and then I'm pretty sure you will brief us at the end of the day. But that's just pretty much my thoughts. Thank you.
All right, thank you, engineer. So I must say that the election platform indeed has provision for all the scenarios. So the committee would go back and have a discussion with the institution, and then we'll put in the options that would meet what the constitution prescribes. First one was whether we currently have an open voters register based on the updates we do, or closed, but we are looking for members to just update the information. The voters register is closed. So the list we have on the website is the list that will be used. The update is just for information specific. Admin, Matthias, can you? The update is for members who haven't, members on the voter list who have not updated their information to do so that we will be able to get information on your branches, especially to do the groupings on the ballot. So the voter register is closed. It's just extra information for individuals who don't have an updated record to do so. Engineer, does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Engineer Mate.
I support the last speaker in connecting with the single option book of a single of the candidate. The issue has to do with even now countries referendum. There's an option for yes or no. And so if you still don't like the person because you think the person is incompetent to hold the position, you can still select no. But if you say you abstain, what shows that you like the person or you don't like the person. And so that option must be there. But probably the criteria will probably have to be determined by the threshold will have to be determined by the council. Whether it's 50% plus one, say yes or say no. That will give you a no. Or a simple majority will decide whether you have won or not. So I still support the last speaker, and I am of the view that the yes and the no must be on the ballot box for people to be able to select. I also posted hello.
Yes, Engineer
I also posted something. Those of us whose dues are paid by our institution. And probably the whole of the last year, probably they paid up to the whole of last year, maybe this year, like the deadline you said, I delayed. Are we going to have our names on the register? Or because we have not paid up to February, that should be maybe the company or my institution had initiated the process, and maybe bank transactions and the like, somebody might have delayed the process of the council receiving the money. So are we abstaining us from the election?
Okay, thank you very much, Engineer Mate. So your first submission is noted. We would work with the institution and then work on the ballot for the single candidates. And the second one is a question on whether the individuals whose institutions pay for them would still be on the voters list in case the payment had not been done by the due date. I think that one I would have to defer it to the institution. I'm not too sure how that was treated, but on the voter list, if you check your name and it's not there, then it means that perhaps the payment did not get through to the institution before the due date. Engineer Mate, does that address the question?
Okay, maybe you have to verify that for us before the election date.
Okay, thank you. Engineer Peter.
Yes, good evening. I've seen that the number below the on the election page is I think the first number is not complete. Okay, so it must be 10 numbers, so the 867 is not there. And I think it's correct on the page, on the portal, when you go to the top, you see it in the blue. But that number, I've been calling that number the whole of last week, nobody has picked. I call at least twice every day. That number, no one has picked. So I don't know whether that number, nobody sits by the phone or whether it is of somebody's personal office's number that when you call the person is not around, doesn't pick, or that is for the reception. So if you can do something about it. First, the number down there, for further assistance, please call. The 030 number, it's not correct. It's 9 digits instead of 10. And that number, when you add the 7 to it, no one picks. I've explained the whole of last week, no one has picked. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Engineer. The members of the Secretariat are on this call, so they will take notes and then act accordingly. Thank you. Engineer Hazel.
Thank you very much, Fifi. I just wanted to draw attention that the ultimate decision for any of the gray areas must be taken by the council. So then, because the council is the highest body before conference. So, for example, the voting on individuals, whether the person has gotten less approval or not, these things must be quickly settled by the council. So I would suggest that between now and the voting, before the voting starts, these the issues must be raised with the council. So then the council gives answers to all the gray areas before we start. Otherwise, this can create a problem for the institution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Hazel. We have Engineer Kwabena.
Thank you once again. A question was answered earlier regarding engineers with the title TPET. We did some exam, I think, last year, and we haven't gotten any feedback regarding our status. Once our membership, has something to do with the elections that is keeping all of us here. I just wanted to know, do you have any idea when we are going to get a feedback from the institution?
All right, thank you, Engineer. I don't currently have information on this, but then, Bartels, if you can hear me, do you have a quick response to this?
When did they write the exams? Engineer, please, did you write the exams?
I wrote the exams at the Secretariat.
No, I mean, when?
Last year.
Okay, so it means that you have left it induction. But has it come to council for approval, the results? Matthias, are you there? Okay, Fifi, let's go. I'm sure by the time we finish, we can get a response for our brother.
All right, thank you. We have Engineer Bismarck Otu.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Once again, good evening to everybody. By the way, I'm sure I'm not supposed to campaign. Other than that, I'll be contesting that I'm coming for National Council aspirant. Anyway, Chief, one of the things I realized.
Please, we shall move to delete that from the record.
Well,
we are moving to
yes,
delete from the record.
Senior KD, like senior KD. I know, senior. Okay, so in fact, what I have reckoned with this issue of the yes and no is that, you see, I earlier narrated an experience and I forgot to add this. Now, if we decide to actually go for this issue of yes or no or whatever, we are going back and forth, what happens is that there are implications to it. Now, there are time implications to this. And the time implications is that at the end of the day, if we are unable to arrive at a decision on those contesting alone or contesting as a loner, we would have to reconduct an election for these people. And mind you, the council also runs based on the position that has been clarified or not have been notified as a vacant. And so if we have a situation that we have council members, the president, the vice, and the other people voted in office, however, we have other branch executives or branch chairmen not voted because they stood alone. How is Gandhi going to implement its strategies to these various regions? It means that we need to now conduct a re-election to have substantive chairpersons for these various regions. And that will be a challenge. And that there's a cost challenge to it. There is a time challenge to it. So I only would recommend, just as Engineer Hazel is saying, if we would want to look at issues of council approving, that if we have people contesting alone in a position, and we have no other person opposing the person or contesting with the other person, then it means that the person is as good as leading us. Either ways, if anybody had an alternative, that alternative would have represented itself, or they would have nominated that alternative to contest the person. And so we are supposed to look at the implication that if we do not confirm these people who are standing alone, the implication to the institution in terms of time, in terms of cost, and in terms of council being duly constituted to start their activities. So these are the things, the challenges that we have. I worked in a professional body where we conducted an election. This is what happened. We have to wait for 3 months to be able to swear the new executive in, because we needed to follow the constitutional procedure to re-elect the vacant positions again. And that was extra cost, time implications, and all these things have to be looked at. So if council can look at it and approve, or at the AGM, annual AGM, when the scrutiny and everything is done, they can approve it at the AGM. I pretty much think that because there are people, I mean, it's a voluntary job, and if someone has brought himself out to serve and there's no one contesting the person, we are engineers, we are working together, we want to help ourselves. So if no one is contesting the person wants to serve, why should we, I mean, create this challenge for ourselves? Because if you go back and we want to file that vacancy as null and want people to come and recontest again, I mean, pretty much, if people were there and they wanted to contest for that election, they would have contested. So I'm only trying to bring these issues up so that we look at the nuances of it, so that we do not go back and forth. You could run a second election, third election, and you would not be able to fill that same position because of some of these challenges. So I'm only bringing it to your notice. Thank you very much. Senior KD, I know you vote for me. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Engineer Otu. Indeed, the new guideline and then the ballot accordingly. Okay, Engineer Tijani.
Yeah, Fifi, I believe we had a, should I say, a purpose for this meeting. It was to educate us on online voting. The other issues that are arisen out of it, I'm sure council will look at it. So can we make progress so we can close this meeting? Thank you.
All right, thank you. So I think so far we've given the platform for all the hands that were up. At this point, we don't have any hand up. So I would like to say that between now and then Monday, for members on the list who have not updated their information, please do so, especially your branches. It's something that we need to make sure is correct so that we'll be able to update the ballot. And also all the feedback we've received, we will do the necessary consultations and update the ballot accordingly. At this point, I think there's no hand up. The Engineer Chair.
Yes, Fifi, I think we can close now. All the other questions that have come up, we'll discuss that before voting starts. So don't worry, we'll do that. Thank you very much for raising issues that will have to help us do a better job. Thank you. Now, Fifi, you can close the meeting.
All right.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, so I think in the absence of further deliberations, we would have to adjourn this meeting. I would want to thank all of you for making the time and your valuable contributions. We would go back and make the necessary consultations and update the ballots accordingly. So thank you once again for making the time. The meeting is officially adjourned.
Okay. So bye for now.
Okay,
bye for now. Good evening to all.
Yeah, thank you very much, sirs. Thank you. Good job.